Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm going to read to you chapters 9 and 10 of I Was a Third Grade Spy. When we left off in chapter 8, Arful misunderstood the girls and gave the boys the wrong message. So let's see what happens now. Here goes Arful in chapter 9. We're in the kitchen, my favorite place in the whole house. I pride myself on keeping this floor licked spotless. I'm hoping for a lot of spilling, because these guys haven't a clue how to cook. I settle in the corner that gives me the best view. I could spot a dropped sesame seed from here. Okay, Brian says, reading from a book. We only have 4 days to become souffle experts. Josh got a cup of flour from the canister. Dougie, we need 8 eggs. 8 eggs coming up, Dougie says, opening the refrigerator. He lines up 4 eggs on the counter. While he goes back for more, I'm watching the one that's starting to roll toward the edge. Rolling, rolling, splat! I'm there. Thank you, Dougie. Hey, Brian yells. Watch what you're doing. Mom will have a fit if we make a mess. You can't even tell anything's spilled, Dougie says. Look, Arful cleaned it up already. Are you sure his mother doesn't mind us doing this? Josh asked. He had a measuring cup out of flour. He had measured out a cup of flour. A lot of it was on his shirt. I told her it's a school project. Besides, Dad's working in his study. He'll help if we get in any trouble. Now, it says to separate the eggs. Okay. Dougie moves the eggs further apart from each other on the counter. Do you think they're separated far enough? I'm watching for another roller. No luck so far, but a dog can hope. Brian scratches his head. It doesn't say. I don't know why that's important anyway. Probably just gives you more room to work, Josh says. Brian nods. Right. Okay, next step. Beat egg whites until stiff but not dry. He breaks an egg into a bowl. How do you get the yolk out of the white? Josh asks. Easy, Brian says. He takes out a big spoon and fishes around in the bowl. Oops. You wrecked it, Dougie says. Let me try one with my fingers. He cracks another egg into the bowl. Oops. Do you think it matters? Josh asks. Whites and yolks are all part of an egg. They wouldn't say beat the whites unless it mattered, Brian says. I bet that's what they meant by separating the eggs, Dougie says. You were supposed to separate the whites from the yolks. I could get those yolks out of there for you, I offer. After they goof up 3 more eggs, I can suck the insides out of a quail egg without crushing the shell. That's delicate work. Brian shrugs. You can't do any worse than we have. He breaks the rest of the eggs into the bowl and puts it on the floor. I want to lap up the whole thing, but I keep telling myself, just the yolks, Arful, just the yolks. When I finish, there are only a few streaks of yolk left from the eggs the boys messed up. I don't break a single one. I just get my doggy lips around each of those yolks and inhale real slow and easy. I'm so good I could be a chef. Brian picks up the bowl. Not bad. Let's beat them. He turns on the mixer with Josh and Dougie hanging over his shoulders. He beats for a long time. They're not getting stiff, Dougie says. I stand and put my paws on the counter so I can see. Now the eggs look like white, soupy oatmeal. They're stiffer than they were, I say, trying not to drool into the bowl. I do love eggs. Brian turns off the beater. That's good enough. Now it says to fold the egg whites into the yolk and cheese mixture. Hey, we were supposed to save the yolks. Too late now, Dougie says. We'll wing it. I'll get the cheese. We can't wing it, Brian says. We have to follow the recipe. Dougie grabs a hunk of cheese from the refrigerator and puts it on the counter. We're already winging it. It doesn't say to have your dog suck the yolks out of the egg whites, does it? He dumps the goopy egg whites over the hunk of cheese. What are you doing? Brian yells. Leave me alone. I'm folding. Dougie tries to bring the goop over the cheese, but it keeps sliding off. Wait, Josh says. There was supposed to be flour in this thing. Maybe that will make it stiffer. He tries to dump the flour over the egg cheese thing, but Brian pushes him out of the way. Then Dougie shoves Brian, and everything lands on the floor. It's a beautiful sight. Is it ruined? I ask hopefully. Brian sighs. Of course it's ruined. Look at the mess we've made. Don't worry, I'll clean it up. I start lapping at it. I save the beaters and the mixer bowl for last. When I finish, you'd never know that the mixer had even been used. I nudge it back into its place and lick that counter until it sparkles. The boys come back into the room just as I'm finishing up the floor. Wow, Dougie says. Nice work, Arful. Thanks, I say. I can't understand why humans hate cleaning. I think it's delicious. Brian gets down next to me. Now listen, Arful. The girls will probably have another meeting tomorrow, and we're going to send you in to spy again. I wonder if he'll get it right this time. This time, listen to what they're saying and watch carefully how they make the souffle. There must be a trick to it. You have to find out what it is because we're running out of time. Tomorrow is Friday and the talent show is Monday night. Here I am on my second spy mission. I'm going to get it right this time. I remember what Brian said. Listen and watch. Here come the girls. They like me. I don't even have to perk my ears to get a smile. They let me right into the playhouse. I curl up on the floor in a spot of sunlight and start listening and watching. All right, Emily says. We wasted a whole meeting yesterday not coming up with anything. I have a new idea. I think we should... The sun is warm and feels so good on my coat. I stretch and roll over on my other side. I'm in a big meadow and there are bunnies hopping all over the place. I love to chase bunnies almost as much as cats. I'm running after them and I'm leaping over. I'm not listening. I'm asleep. I sit up and shake the sleep out of my head. Words. I have to listen to the words. I go sit by Kara and try to keep my eyes wide open. I don't think we'll win any contest with that plan, Kara says. She starts scratching behind my ears, just the way I like it. It's hard to sit on a slippery floor because my feet keep sliding out from under me. You want to come up on the couch with me, Arful? Come on, it's all right. I jump up and settle in next to her. She's still scratching. It feels wonderful. Emily's talking again. This is my final plan. We all need to go home and get yada, 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 yada. Then we'll bring them back here and make yada, yada, yada. Nice scratching, nice words, nice sunshine. Chapter 10. When Arful came back from his spy mission at Emily's Friday afternoon, we went to Brian's living room. That's when we found out he hadn't learned anything. What do you mean you slept? Brian cried. You wasted the whole meeting? We don't know if they'll have another one before the talent show. That could have been our last chance. How could you sleep through it? Arful circled about 16 times before he lay down on the couch. I couldn't help it. He yawned. You humans don't put any excitement in your talking. No howling, no barking, no yelping. Just mumble, mumble, mumble. Sheesh! It's a wonder you don't put each other to sleep. You must have seen something, Brian insisted. Think, Arful, we only have the weekend now. Were they making souffle? A what? A souffle! The thing we were trying to cook yesterday. There was no cooking. I would have remembered that. Aha! Brian said. They must have given up on the souffle. It was too hard for them. So what kind of an act did they come up with? Did they have any props or costumes? What are costumes? Arful asked. Clothes, I offered. They might have special clothes for the contest. Oh, Arful blinked. They had pieces of cloth covering their bodies. The things humans wear. Which reminds me of something I've always wondered about. Why do humans keep changing their outer coat all at once? It's much easier to just shed it a little bit at a time, you know? The costumes, Arful. Brian moved closer to get his attention. Were they in dresses? Pants? Arful thought for a minute. No. They were breathing normally. It was quite cool and pleasant in their playhouse. Not pants like breathing hard. Pants! Jeans! Brian lifted one leg, shaking it for emphasis. Oh, I see what you mean, Arful said. They probably have a special room for that, just like you do. What are you talking about? Brian asked. The bat room, Arful said. Why do you call it that? I've never sniffed any evidence of bats in the bat room. That's bathroom, I said. It doesn't have anything to do with bats. Arful perked up one ear. I know you humans sometimes go into that room to take a bath, but it seems you use it more for leaving messages. Why do you leave all your messages in one little bowl inside the house? You could reach so many more people by leaving a message on the tree, in the front yard. That's what I do. And I get answers from dogs all over the town. There was a dog the other day from Cleveland. Can you imagine? He said his family had moved away and he was following them. You get all this from sniffing a tree? I asked. Dougie was rolling around on the floor, laughing at this point. We get email. Arful gets P-mail. Arful perked his ears. Exactly. By the way, now that I'm learning more of your words, I'm curious about my name. What does Arful mean? Well, the arf part is from a dog bark, Brian said. Arf? Arful looked puzzled. Who says arf? I never said arf in my whole life. Brian shrugged. Sorry, that's what it sounds like when you bark. Arful put his head between his paws and raised one eyebrow. I keep forgetting that human hearing is so primitive. We're actually saying aroof, which means heads up. Here comes the mailman. But that still doesn't explain my whole name. Brian looked to me. I knew he didn't want to be the one to hurt Arful's feelings. It's sort of a joke, I offered. It sounds like awful, which is the way you looked when they got you from the shelter. It was the way he still looked, but I didn't say that. Arful raised his head and smiled. I like that. Awful, Arful, a name with a joke. Could we change it to Arooful, though? Brian shook his head. I don't think so. It would be hard to remember. Arful sighed and put his head on his paws again. I'm learning a whole new language here, and you can't remember one new word? Okay, I said. How about we leave the name the same, but every time we see the mailman, we'll yell, Aroof! Arful perked up. That's a deal. It's Aroos for garbage collectors, and Aroosh for salesmen, just in case you spot any of those while I'm napping. I hate to miss a chance to chase away any invaders. And that's the end of chapter 11. So next we'll hear from Arful. Can't wait to see what happens next. Have a great day, boys and girls. Miss you.